People you talking about, they spent money on white women. They set up bars and they went playing pool and golf for $1,000 a hole, and they were known to make millions and millions when there wasn't no high taxes, and they were not hindered by white America. They were allowed to see the white America is completely closed all the doors on me. I'm not allowed to work in America, out of America. I was stopped right in my prime just when I started making money. So you can't compare me with nobody like Joe Lewis or nobody.
If you are black, if you are brown, if you are indigenous, and if you are poor, this system is rigged and it is rotten to the core, and we gonna unbreak it. That's it. And that's all.
That other kind of socialism that revolutionizes the workplace, brings democracy to the workplace for the first time.
So that's one way. And then the other thing is, in my more optimistic days, he's such a perfect endpoint of everything that is toxic and dysfunctional about the United States, about capitalism, about the 80s, that maybe this is the final sort of disgusting burst before we evolve or change it to something better.
Talk about some things about why we need a new party. So I thought that'd be a good way to kind of do this. Why do we need a new party? We need a new party because both parties suck.
What are they talking about? Fortified. Are you fortified for the long run? Do you have your cemetery clothes on? Are you coffin ready to live and die for something bigger than you, like a fundamental transformation of a capitalist civilization?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Radical Democracy Show, episode number 19 here. Thank you so much for being here with us. It is Wednesday, October 14th, and we have an interesting show ahead of us. Honestly, I was on the fence about doing this episode because I'm still researching right up until the moment I've gone live here, because the story's been evolving in this Hunter Biden story. So I'll try to focus on what we know in that regarding that story, and just what the parts of the story that I can speak on. So, all right. thank you so much. If you haven't done so already, thank you for being here. If you haven't done so already, please immediately hit the like button down below there. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and please share this out far and wide on social media. Really appreciate that. We need your help helping this channel to grow. We are independent media, so we survive off of the support of our community here. So please, if you can afford to do so, and only if you can afford to do so, please head over to our Patreon, become a member for as low as $1 a month. For just $1 a month, you can become a member of the show and help support independent left-wing media, independent Black media. So please do so if you can afford to do so. There are links in the description box below, so feel free to open up that description box, click the link there, and head over and sign up that way. You can also send us a tip on Coffee, one-time tip, no account required. Coffee.com/radical democracy, ko-fi.com/radical democracy. We are doing tonight's show for at least the start of this. We are not going to have our producer with us, so you're going to have to bear with me because there'll be a bit of an older school show where I'm having to manage the comments as well. But I don't, last night's stream wasn't too busy, so not too worried about that. I am trying to balance a lot still, so I'm still trying to figure out scheduling for the show, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up right now, as long as I don't have the funding for a video editor for the show. It is a lot of work to edit videos, and so the way that I do the show is to do these, the full streams, and then I have to go and edit the video and break them up into the separate segments, and that's all being done myself. So that's why I need the support. That's why I need the help funding this. So please, if you can afford to do so, please support the show. The best way to do so is on Patreon. You can also drop us a super chat. The super chat feature's enabled, and so feel free to drop us a super chat as well for tonight's stream. If there's activity in the stream, if there's folks to chat, and depending on how things are, I might not be, it may behoove you to do a super chat in these streams where I'm by myself and can't read every comment, because I'm gonna try not to get too distracted by comments. Again, drop comments if you have any, please. I want to hear your thoughts, chat with the community. So please drop your comments if you have any. I want to hear your thoughts on whatever we're discussing always. So I'll try to read everything. Okay, let's get to it. Like I said, I am feeling a little iffy about this stream right now, so to say the least. So got some stories I want to get to, got some thoughts on them, but we may cut this stream short tonight. Let me just say that, because I'm not feeling 100% here on this, and I don't know, I'm feeling weird about this stream. Okay, so let's get to it. Got a few stories to get to here. A few that we weren't able to finish in last night's stream, I hope to get to as well. So, all right, jumping right in. First story up, and we may be bringing Kwame on the show tonight from Racefist Media. He may be joining us. I will do a different story than I was going to do as the first story right out of the gate, just so that in case Kwame is available and able to jump on here with us. It's hard to coordinate right now. He's working on some other things for Racefist Media right now, so just a little difficulty coordinating there as well. So apologies for all of that all around. You just got to bear with us. We're a small, growing show, independent, and figuring things out. And so we really do appreciate you being here with us so early on and bearing with us through these rough times here. All right, get into it. First story up. So, all right. There has been a bit of a controversy on Twitter today. The New York Post released an article on Hunter Biden. It was they uncovered some emails. It appears that this story traces back to Rudy Giuliani and Steve Bannon are some of the sources for where this information originated from. Now, let me be careful about that. So Rudy Giuliani and Steve Bannon seem to be behind. All right, F it. So I'm gonna just show you. I'm gonna show you this story out of the New York Post, and we'll start there. And sorry, I'm just looking again. Told you this was going to be a rough one today. So, all right, forgive me, folks. I'm doing terribly right now. I apologize. Okay. So this is why I don't know how I want to approach this story. This story has been just, it's gross every way you look at it. And I'm just not sure how to approach this damn thing. So this is what was what delayed this show initially. That's why we got off to a late start here. And because information was still coming in on this, and it's just a mess all around. So, all right. Well, the New York Post released an article on about Joe Biden, and I'll show you what the article was to start. So this is the article out of the New York Post. Smoking gun email reveals how Hunter Biden introduced Ukrainian businessman to VP dad. So they uncovered some emails of Hunter Biden's that appear to suggest that Hunter Biden had introduced this Ukrainian businessman from the firm that he worked for, Hunter Biden, in Ukraine, where he was being paid $50,000 a month to sit on the board of an energy company, having no prior experience in the energy sector. Hunter Biden, while Joe Biden was vice president. If you don't know this story, you should know about this by now. I hope folks are familiar with this story. It was out of this that Donald Trump's impeachment came, because, through this, Donald Trump was trying to get some Ukrainian leaders to investigate this during his presidency. And that led to impeachment hearings for Donald Trump, because it was seen as, Trump soliciting foreign interference in an election. Now, so the story here really is that, and what I'd like to focus on is twofold really. So once after this article was released, before we get to the article, so after this article was released, hold on one sec. Okay, nice. We got Kwame in the comments there. Awesome. So we're Kwame, if you're around, we're gonna actually bring you on the show. If you're around, join up if you're around. If you need me to send you a link, let me know. Need me to send you an invite link or whatever. But we'll jump into that next story with you ASAP. Because I know Kwame's on limited time here. So sorry, just saw Kwame commenting in the chat there. All right, so let's just finish this story up here, and then we'll bring Kwame in. Sorry, I am this. All right, Kwame just needs me to send him a link to join here. So give me 1 sec so I can get Kwame invited in here. Forgive me, y'all. Like I said, you gotta bear with me. That's why till y'all pay me the big bucks. This is what you gotta bear through. All right. Just getting Kwame a link here. Sorry. No, this is why we love having our producer. This is why y'all got to pay Tammy, you know, because we if we can't pay Tammy, then we can't expect her to provide labor for free there. So we need more support, more funding in order to do so. So trying to manage this all without my super producer, y'all. So expect some really rugged stuff on this live stream here. All right. Hopefully I can hold it together, but I feel like I'm falling apart here, y'all. Just being real. All right. So, and I see 5 people viewing right now, but only 2 likes on the stream. So please, if you haven't done so already, please immediately hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, but hit that like button immediately. Need to see 5 likes in here. If there's 5 people viewing right now, need to see more people viewing. So share this stream out, please. All right. So the story here was really that after, so the New York Post released this article, people started to share it on Twitter. And as they started to share this article on Twitter, they noticed something strange. So people were getting messages like this after trying to, if you could click a link, some people's links were just simply being, people that were trying to share it were being blocked from sharing it. And folks that were able to share it they received error messages or warning messages when clicking that link. So let me show you what that looked like for people trying to share the link, as well as folks that were trying to access the link. So this is what it looks like here. This was Sohrab Ahmari. This is an editor at the New York Post. So this is a journalist. This is all right. For those unfamiliar, I mean, the New York Post, it's considered a bit of, it's not a tabloid, but it does a lot of sensational journalism. I mean, as far as I understand it, it's not the most trustworthy outlet or anything like that, but they are a media outlet. They're a media entity, and they are protected by the First Amendment, right? So we should all be able to agree on that. So Sohrab Ahmari, an editor at the New York Post, says, he tweeted out and says, "This is a big tech information coup. This is a big tech information coup. This is digital civil war. I, an editor at the New York Post, one of the nation's largest papers by circulation, can't post one of our own stories that details corruption by a major party presidential candidate, Biden." And you'll see here on the screen what that looked like. So there's a shot of it saying, your tweet could not be sent, tweet not sent. Your tweet couldn't be sent because this link has been identified by Twitter or our partner as being potentially harmful. Visit our help center to learn more. And so people that were trying to post this link, it was flagged by Twitter. It was blacklisted by Twitter. Anyone who was trying to post this link, and they were seeing this message. Even the editor of the paper that published this story. So then again, and I'll show you as well what it looked like when folks were clicking on that link. They also received, you would see this screen pop up. If you click that link, you got a warning like this from Twitter. Warning, this link may be unsafe. For people that were able to access the link, it says the link you are trying to access has been identified by Twitter or our partner as being potentially spammy or unsafe in accordance with Twitter's URL policy. This link could fall into any of the below categories: malicious links that could steal personal information or harm electronic devices, spammy links that mislead people or disrupt their experience. So spammy links that mislead people or disrupt their experiences, violent or misleading content that could lead to real world harm. It seems like it filed under one of those two. Certain categories of content that, if posted directly on Twitter, are a violation of the Twitter rules. They let you go back to the previous page or continue on to the story. And again, you'll see here, we can continue on. You get to the story through that. So here's Twitter. You have Twitter here, a private corporation. is now censoring an article that is about, a story about a major party candidate's son, in potential, evidence of corruption. Now, again, I know folks will immediately jump on it and say, "Listen, it's Rudy." Let's read through the article first. So first and foremost, let's just quickly let's go through this article, and we'll see what it is that they were trying to suppress here. What was it that they were saying was, violated these rules, misleading information. This is the New York Post article. A smoking gun email reveals how Hunter Biden introduced Ukrainian businessman to VP dad. Steve Bannon alerted the Post to the existence of the drive. Sorry, I'm trying to read what was on screen there for a second. Let's see if I can get back to it now. All right. Hunter Biden introduced his father, then Vice President Joe Biden, to a top executive at a Ukrainian energy firm less than a year before the elder Biden pressured government officials in Ukraine into firing a prosecutor who was investigating the company, according to emails obtained by the Post. The never-before-revealed meeting is mentioned in a message of appreciation that Vadim Pozharsky, an advisor to the board of Burisma, allegedly sent Hunter Biden on April 17, 2015, about a year after Hunter joined the Burisma board at a reported salary of up to $50,000 a month. It says, "Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to DC and giving an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together. It's really an honor and pleasure," the email reads. An earlier email from May 2014 also shows Pozharsky, reportedly Burisma's number 3 executive, asking Hunter for advice on how you could use your influence on the company's behalf. Hunter Biden's only influence would be over... Hunter Biden is nobody except the son of Joe Biden, and his dad was the vice president of the United States. We're talking about April 2015. Of course, we all should know Obama was elected, in 2008. He was reelected in 2012. In 2015, this was, the third year of Obama's second term in office. So Joe Biden is a very well-known entity at this point. The blockbuster correspondence, which flies in the face of Joe Biden's claim that he's never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings, is contained in a massive trove of data recovered from a laptop computer. Now, this is where it gets really, interesting. And so this is, you can see, this is the email here that we just read out, and just a screenshot of that email. It says, "Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to DC and giving an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together. It's really an honor and pleasure. As we spoke yesterday evening, would be great to meet today for a quick coffee. What do you think? I could come to your office somewhere around noon or so, before or on my way to airport. Best, V." So how did they find this information? The computer that the information was pulled from was dropped off at a repair shop in Biden's home state of Delaware in April 2019, according to the store's owner. Other material extracted from the computer includes a raunchy 12-minute video that appears to show Hunter, who's admitted struggling with addiction problems, smoking crack while engaged in a sex act with an unidentified woman, as well as numerous other sexually explicit images. So that's something that we'll talk about and I'll get to. So I want to talk about that in the, a left critique of that, I hope. The customer who brought in the water damaged MacBook Pro for repair never paid for the service or retrieved it, or never paid for the service or retrieved it, or a hard drive on which his contents were stored, according to the shop owner, who said he tried repeatedly to contact the client. The shop owner couldn't positively identify the customer as Hunter Biden, but said the laptop bore a sticker from the Beau Biden Foundation, named after Hunter's late brother and former Delaware Attorney General. Photos of a Delaware federal subpoena given to the Post show that both the computer and hard drive were seized by the FBI in December, after the shop's owner says he alerted the feds to their existence. So you can see there's a subpoena here. Okay, but before turning over the gear, the shop owner says he made a copy of the hard drive and later gave it to former Mayor Rudy Giuliani's lawyer, Robert Costello. So that's where things start to get a little sketchy, of course. That is clearly politically motivated, if you ask me, turning over a hard drive to a Republican, operative. This is a former mayor, Republican mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, of New York City, Rudy Giuliani. So, and, Trump sycophant. So this is clearly a politically motivated move that the shop owner made here. Steve Bannon, former advisor to President Trump, told the Post about the existence of the hard drive in late September, and Giuliani provided the Post with a copy of it on Sunday. So here you see the coordination between Steve Bannon, Rudy Giuliani. This is happening a few weeks out from an election. This is clearly a political and opposition research dump. So this is clearly, they had this opposition research. They probably were holding on to this information, trying to time it out politically to be the most beneficial politically to Donald Trump. So we can acknowledge that, and without saying that, okay, that doesn't mean that we should ignore this story or that it's any less valid. Of course, this is the New York Post. It's not, as far as I understand, I'm not a professional media critic or anything. I've only spent the last 5 years or so intensely focused on the media. And as far as I understand it, the New York Post, again, it can be a bit tabloidy, but it's not a tabloid. It is considered an accepted outlet. They're a media entity, and they're no Breitbart or anything, is all I can say. So this is I don't even know if I can use the word trusted, but you don't see me using the New York Post for a ton of references, as you'll see. Yeah, it's not my most trusted source. And they have been known to have like a friendly ties to Donald Trump. So there's nothing about this that I'm fooled into, like, being some quote unquote useful idiot for the right, where you're, not recognizing that this is clearly opposition research and should be taken with that consideration. But the thing about Twitter, blocking this is that's where I take it. So let's get through the story, and then we'll talk about the issues that I take with this. So less than 8 months after Pozharskyi thanked Hunter Biden for the introduction to his dad, the then vice president admittedly pressured Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko and Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk, I know I'm butchering these names, but into getting rid of Prosecutor General Viktor Shokin by threatening to withhold a $1 billion U.S. loan guarantee during a December 2015 trip to Kyiv. I looked at them and said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor is not fired, you're not getting the money, Biden infamously bragged to the Council on Foreign Relations in 2018. Well, son of a bitch, he got fired. That's a quote from Biden. Shokin has said that at the time of his firing in March 2016, he'd made specific plans to investigate Burisma that included interrogations and other crime investigation procedures into all members of the executive board, including Hunter Biden. That's a fact that has been refuted, has been questioned by some others in mainstream media, including the Washington Post. We can talk about an article that they put out about an hour ago, also delaying this broadcast because that new information came up and I had to try to dig into it. So Shokin has said that so this idea that Shokin was investigating Burisma, that has been questioned by some, but there are reports of him allegedly looking into Burisma, investigating Burisma. Some people have said that he was fired because he was investigating Burisma. Some people say that he was fired because he was not investigating Burisma. That's what the Biden team would want you to, believe. I don't, I apologize because my wording isn't precise enough right now, and I'm really not proud of myself right now. Okay, so Joe Biden has insisted that the U.S. wanted Shokin removed over corruption concerns, which were shared by the European Union. Meanwhile, an email dated May 12, 2014, shortly after Hunter Biden joined the Burisma board, shows Pozharskyi attempting to get him to use his political leverage to help the company. The message had the subject line "urgent issue" and was also sent to Hunter Biden's business partner, Devon Archer, who also sat on the Burisma board at the time. So here's yet another email. So this is another email showing, following our talks during the visit to Dare Hunter and Devon, following our talks during the visit to the Como Lake and our further discussions, I would like to bring the following situation to your attention. As previously pointed out on a number of occasions, the representatives of new authorities in power tend to quite aggressively approach NZ unofficially with the aim to obtain cash from him. Initially, it was done by the representatives of Svoboda Party and the Ministry of Internal Affairs. The so-called unofficial communications would entail blackmailing in case we don't cooperate, i.e. provide money in cash. The gas production business of NZ would be stopped, destroyed, etc. I'm trying to jump through this and find. Sorry. All right. So here it is. So here he goes, where he says, "We urgently need your advice on how you could use your influence to convey a message slash signal, etc., to stop what we consider to be politically motivated actions, bearing in mind the following." And then they go on, to state some of their, business interests. So all right. I think that's enough. I think people largely get the point. By and large, get the point here. So I don't think, so the issue, so this was the article that the New York Post put out there. And, so a few things about this. So just reading through my notes here. So, of course, I should preface this disclaimer by saying, of course, Donald Trump and his family are far worse as far as the emoluments are concerned, as far as corruption is concerned. Donald Trump and his family are deeply, deeply corrupt. Donald Trump has been corrupt throughout his entire career. He has, had corrupt business dealings. And so Donald Trump is corrupt to the core. Absolutely, without a doubt. That goes without saying. His family has profited in the tens of millions and will profit a whole lot more from his presidency. Now, let's be real. Obama also, now Donald Trump is the worst offender here that I can think of. Donald Trump is the worst offender when it comes to this, for any politician that I'm aware of, as far as using that to, and he's been corrupt before. Trump was corrupt before he became president. Look at the Trump Foundation or the Trump Organization, the Trump Foundation that journalists won a Pulitzer Prize for looking into all the fraudulent, transactions that were happening through Donald Trump's Trump Foundation, the supposedly charitable foundation that didn't actually contribute to any charity. So Donald Trump is a deeply corrupt individual. Donald Trump and his entire family are deeply corrupt. But that doesn't mean that we should ignore the Democrats' corruption, right? Because what they're doing is worse for sure, but what the Democrats are doing here is also bad and should not be ignored, right? So the what I've seen a lot of on Twitter when in just reading through comments and such on Twitter on all of these posts and stuff and the trending, and what was trending today was a lot of people saying, all right, well, this is bad, but Trump is worse. The Washington Post has done some work to try to refute the story and we can get into that. But they are, this was so parts of the story are being refuted, but at the end of the day, I do believe what Hunter Biden was doing was clear corruption. $50,000 a month to sit on the board of an energy company in Ukraine while his father has dealings with Ukraine as the vice president of the United States. That is corruption. That is the kind of corruption that the American people can see. We can all see it with our eyes. We all know it when we see it, and everybody's disgusted by it. And so it doesn't help us on the left, for sure, on the left, to be defending Biden's actions or his son's actions just because Trump is worse. So we definitely don't want to get caught up on that on the left, because that just makes us look bad and unprincipled, and we lose credibility when we do that. So we shouldn't defend these actions. Now, sure, we should question this article and the sources. Sure, it deserves to be questioned. But does Twitter, a private corporation, deserve the power to be censoring in blocking the First Amendment rights and the freedom of the press? That's not. Twitter is a platform that is relied upon by millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people in the US and all around the world. And if that's the new public square, and these social media platforms have become the new public square, and you have private corporations controlling the new public square and being allowed to decide what is valid information and what is not, that once we start to have ministries of information, this is where we really start to become, that's a violation of the First Amendment as far as I'm concerned. This is Twitter, blocking freedom of the press in a way that I don't care that it's the New York Post and it's not the most trusted. Human being, people, the American people and people writ large need to be able to be trusted to read the information and decide for themselves. I was able, I just read the story to you. All of us here should be capable of reading this information and understanding that everyone has an axe to grind, as Noam Chomsky says. Whoever the source that you're taking from, you're drawing from is, we should understand what their biases are. I'm biased, right? I'm a socialist. I'm a left wing. I'm black. And American. I have all of those. I'm a cis, straight cis male. Like, I have all of these biases that come along with that, and I don't need to pretend like I'm totally neutral on these things. That would be, people don't like that. And that's why I think that independent media is growing and mainstream media is faltering. Ooh, my voice just cracked, going through some late puberty here, apparently. But that would be one of the reasons why mainstream media is faltering, and people are, can see that. So we should, here on the left, we got to be careful, make sure that we don't just ignore this stuff. I don't care that it's out from an election. I've already made the call on the election, because I've already told you nothing, that I don't believe anything. I don't think that this will have, sure, this will impact the election. It will move things a little bit. There will be some, the right, Trump and the right wing will be able to create some controversy out of this. But honestly, by Twitter blocking this story like they did, I think that it honestly made me more likely to read the story, if anything, you know, like I think it just makes, it's the Streisand effect, right? It's when you try, that was when Barbara Streisand tried to block a picture of her house that was on like Google Images, and there were like 7 Google searches for this thing before she mentioned it, and then when she tried to get it removed, that then it spiked to the millions after that, and that's the Streisand effect. When in the act of trying to block something, you end up making it more popular and seen by more people. So this looks like a common sort of Streisand effect here. And it was, so one thing that I wanted to just note here, and it was the part about it that they published some pictures in here they said they found on the hard drive some pictures of Hunter Biden smoking crack. So there's pictures on there that they published of like what appears to be Hunter Biden with a crack pipe in his mouth, like smoking crack on one of these pictures. Also engaged in some sexually explicit acts. Like, I don't care about, I think that's, personal shit like that. Like, I don't care about that, that's not my business what people do with their own time, especially, you see me out here. I advocate for the decriminalization and even legalization of all recreational drugs. I think should be legalized, legalize, tax, and regulate, or at the very least decriminalize all of them the way that they've done in Portugal. I am a strong advocate of that. I do not believe that drug use should be stigmatized. I smoked clearly a bit too much weed before this stream, so I'm certainly not one to be out here like shaming anyone for using drugs, and I definitely don't want to stigmatize it. The reason that people even get into doing drugs, but where I will criticize, and what did piss me off about this, is that we have to recognize who Joe Biden is, right? Who Joe Biden is, and what is his connections to, the crack cocaine, and what has he done in that realm? Because I don't care about like when people if people have, I'm not concerned unless somebody's being a hypocrite. When somebody's being a hypocrite, that's where I take issue. And it's not necessarily Hunter Biden who's the hypocrite here, but his dad damn sure is. And I want to point that out because I saw Kyle Kalinske of Secular Talk tweet out and say, like, this personal stuff, I don't care about it. If anything, these pictures make me like Hunter Biden more, make me feel some more sympathy for him. Now, listen, like Hunter Biden himself, yeah, sure. Like in some way, I suppose, like, yeah, I don't want anyone, like, I don't think crack cocaine is a good drug that people should be doing. I think it's, it's just not, it's unhealthy. It's not healthy. It's not safe. I don't think that it's a good drug of choice. And I don't, I would like to live in a world where people don't have to do that drug. But I don't think people should be stigmatized for it, or should be, prosecuted for it in any way, or have that behavior criminalized. That's for sure. But Biden is personally responsible for what is known as the 100-to-1 rule that made the penalty for crack cocaine 100 times worse than the penalty for powder cocaine, and fueled this war on drugs. And so for your son to be out here just smoking crack and to not have that be an issue, like, no, you know what? I'll make that an issue. I don't care about, the leftist critique of like, oh, we shouldn't be, stigma. No, I'm not stigmatizing crack use or cocaine use or drug use in general. What I'm saying is Hunter Biden doing that shit is so deeply fucking hypocritical when your dad was the leader of one of the leaders of the war on drugs, and the person who literally wrote the language in what is known as the 100-to-1 rule that made the sentencing for crack cocaine in the US 100 times worse than the sentencing for powder cocaine, knowing damn well that powder cocaine was being used by white people and crack cocaine was being dumped in black communities because it was the cheaper drug. So of course the cheaper drug, you make the penalties 100 times worse. So let me show you an article about this and Biden on this real quick. So let's see. Just want to show you this article from the Washington Post, and then we'll bring Kwame on the stream here. We'll bring Kwame in to hear his thoughts on this story right after this too. All right. Sorry. So this is a story from the Washington Post titled "How an Early Biden Crime Bill Created the Sentencing Disparity for Crack and Cocaine Trafficking." For anyone that's not familiar, if you don't believe me here, this is from July 28, 2019. The new form of cocaine was called crack, and by the summer of 1986, it was fueling fears of a drug epidemic. A 44-year-old Democratic senator from Delaware with a growing national profile stepped forward with a bill aimed at heading off the crisis. The bipartisan legislation crafted by Joe Biden, which authorized new funding for drug treatment programs and stricter penalties for drug offenses, passed overwhelmingly with the support of most Black lawmakers and was signed into law by President Ronald Reagan. Later, a little notice provision in the law came to be viewed as one of the most racially slanted sentencing policies on record, a rule that treated crack cocaine as significantly worse than powder cocaine and ended up disproportionately punishing African Americans. 16 years after its passage, Biden disavowed the provision. 16 years. Saying the road to hell is paved with good intentions, quoting nuns who taught him as a child. His campaign now calls the disparity in sentencing a profound mistake that he wants to reverse. Biden's role in passing the lesser-known 1986 law and creating the crack powder disparity reveals how he grappled with policies years earlier that would affect the Black community. The episode could further complicate his ongoing struggle to reconcile his decades-long record with changing political and societal norms. I just want to read one more clip from this. So here's the 100 on the 100 to 1 rule. So on the 100 to 1 rule, Biden, a former public defender, was elected in the Senate. Biden, a former public defender, was elected to the Senate in 1972 during a period of rising violent crime and the year after President Richard Nixon declared a, quote, war on drugs. The country's violent crime rate, which would peak in 1991, had more than doubled since 1960. Back in Biden's home state, Dennis Williams, a former Wilmington, Delaware mayor who is African American, said he observed a sharp increase in cocaine-related violence while working on the city's police force during the crime wave. So here's a cop, saying, "Oh yeah, it was cocaine-related violence." Not poverty-related violence. It's not because these people are poor. It's whatever. So whatever. Let me not get off here. So. Quote, "Everybody was alarmed," Williams, a longtime Biden friend, said in an interview. Quote, "It wasn't just the white community. The Black community had solid neighborhoods and they were afraid. They wanted to be protected also." So here's Biden doing here's my Black friend. Here he's a former Black cop and, mayor of Wilmington, Delaware, like the most corporate state in the country. And he's saying, "Oh yeah, here's my Black friend who also says, oh yeah, the black folks, we want this too," even though we all know what the actual results of these things were, these policies. So early on, the young senator called, that's referring to Joe Biden. Early on, the young senator called for a much broader federal role in the traditionally state and local task of fighting crime and warned in dire terms about dangers facing the public. Americans, quote, "are worried about being mugged on the subway," quote, end quote, Biden said on the Senate floor on July 22nd, 1976. Quote, "Women are worried about being raped on the way to their automobiles after work. They worry that their government does not seem to be doing much about it. And unfortunately, they appear to be right." Okay, so here you have Joe Biden creating the 100 to 1 rule and saying, listen, it's because this crack cocaine is so dangerous. Women, people are worried about being mugged on the subway by, these crackheads, and women are worried about being raped on their way to the automobiles after work. They worry about, so our crack are crack users, should we be concerned about them mugging and raping women, or are they just your kind sweet son who deserves all the protections of your power as vice president? So this is what grossed me out, is that you got the dude who literally created the 100-to-1 rule. You have pictures of his son smoking crack, and so no, I'm not going to just give it a pass on as a leftist. That one has to be called out, because of the hypocrisy of your dad being the dude who, but Hunter Biden doesn't got to worry about being prosecuted for this stuff. He's not going to worry about getting locked up in jail. Hunter Biden's going to be just fine. He'll be protected by his rich, powerful daddy. But all those poor black people that were, in these inner cities, they suffer the worst penalties, and some people die in jail, not treated. They should have been treated like a health crisis. Instead, it was treated as criminal, and we threw incarceration at the problem, and we created a mass incarceration problem. Turn these people with a health problem into slaves through the prison labor system. So just miss me, please, leftists, with the we shouldn't, this would be not left of us to criticize Joe Biden. And that's even somebody like Kyle Kalinske. I think he gets it wrong here, because he's usually really good about catching the hypocrisy. Like, he doesn't care about, like, nobody cares if, like, somebody's having an affair or anything like that, unless you're somebody that's out there, a Republican claiming to be all about family values, and then, but on the surface, and you're out here touting this family values line and using it to create all these horrible, horrendous policies. But then you turn around and it's like, okay, where are your family values there when you're, like, cheating on your wife? And so, personal business like that, in a normal circumstance, I don't think that we should be in people's business like that, and people should be able to live their lives however they see fit. But in the case of hypocrisy, I do think that it's necessary to call out. So, all right. Before I get to the comments and the next story, let me bring on our guest for the evening here. He's just going to be joining us for one story, I believe, because he's got a lot to get to. So sorry for holding up so long there. This is Kwame Norville from Raise Fist Media. Everyone, welcome to the stream. Kwame, what's up?
Hey.
Kwame.
What's up, y'all? Can y'all hear me okay?
Yep. I can hear you just fine.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining us here. Appreciate you being with us. So, all right, here we go. So, all right. So I just did this, we just covered this story. I don't know if you've been listening in, but we just covered this story. I think you have, looking in the comments there, on Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Before we move on to the next story, and I don't want to take up too much of your time here, so you honestly, if you don't have anything that you want to add on it, feel free to just take a pass here. Did you have anything that you want to say about that before we move along, about Biden, his son, the crack line of it, the censorship from Twitter, the corruption angle, anything that you wanna any thoughts?
I mean, I feel like you nailed it across the board. As you could see from my co-signing in the comment section there, it's the hypocrisy that does it for me. Like, I don't care if he did drugs. It's that you locked up a bunch of people for it. That's the issue for me. It's like the same thing, like the example that you gave with Republican senators, especially not just affairs, but especially with the anti-gay thing. And then they
pastors that do that. Yeah.
It's like that's the infuriating part, because at the end of the day, at least in that case, a part of me feels sorry, because it's probably because of the world that we live in, the systems that we have in place, that they felt they had to hide it and end up living this hypocritical life. But that doesn't mean I can't shade the hell out of them for it. And they rightfully deserve that. And he rightfully deserves this call out right now. And I'm completely unsurprised by the immediate censorship that them trying to get this taken down. That's so unsurprising for me. They can post all kinds of garbage or trash or harass people at a lower level, and they'll never really do much about it. But you attack the corporate interest, any of that ruling class, and all of a sudden they figure out how to remove articles and block people and ban people real quick. It's just real funny to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So comment from Mark McKeever said, one, this is deflection and projection of his administration. Trump kids, really? Two, bad optics by blocking the story by Silicon Valley. And three, this won't move the needle in this election, in my opinion. I agree on all 3 points. I agree on all three, Mark. I think that it is absolutely deflection, projection. It doesn't mean that I don't think that the story has some validity to it and that there is issue here and that it is indicative of corruption by the Democratic Party and the vice president and his son. It is all indicative of it. It is part of, this is corruption by Joe Biden, and it's something that we shouldn't just, totally brush off or ignore. We should at least call it out and say, we don't like that corruption. We don't like any corruption. I don't want any corruption by any political party, especially the one that I'm, supposed to be a part of. And so definitely agree there. Bad optics by blocking the story. Absolutely. Just totally agree that they made it worse by doing so. Mm-hmm. And on point 3, that it won't move the needle in this election. I think that it will slightly move the needle. It will move the needle a teensy bit, because it will cause some stir. It will depress a little bit of the vote from the Democratic side. Maybe it riles up the base a teeny bit more, so you get a little bit of a shift. I think that, you're talking about less than a point of, difference in the polls, really, when there's a 10-point lead to close for Donald Trump nationally right now. I just don't think that it's going to alter the course of the election. I think that Joe Biden will still win this election. I gave my thoughts on that in a previous video. So, all right, do we have any other comments we need to get to? I think and what's up to everyone else in the comments there? What's up to X? I see a comment there, Blue Horseshoe as well. Oh, nice. Shout out. We got a tip. So want to give a big shout out to Brian, aka BD Econ, in our Discord server, for tipping $5 on coffee. So thank you so much. Brian said, testing out coffee. I've been really enjoying the show. Thank you so much, Brian. Really deeply appreciate that. That is amazing. We cannot thank you enough for that support. Every single dollar, it has such a massive impact for us. So thank you so much for that. We are looking into improving our equipment, getting some better sound equipment in here, and Mike for Tammy, our super producer. And so every tip helps to move the needle on that forward. So thank you so much to Brian Dew, aka BD Econ, for that awesome tip there on coffee. Appreciate that so much. Anyone else that'd like to leave us a tip, you can head over to coffee.com/radical democracy, ko-fi.com/radical democracy. And you can also sign up to become a member on Patreon for as low as $1 a month. Patreon.com/radical democracy. You can also become a member of Racist Media. Kwame joins us he is working on a channel of his own called Racist Media, where it's at Racist Media on Twitter and YouTube. You can find him at Raised Fist Media, 3 separate words on YouTube, and at Raised Fist Media on Twitter. Kwame needs to update the damn profile, Twitter profile, so that there's an image there, dude. Like, please, can you please, like, literally anything, like, just get a default ass fist. I don't care. Like, take a fucking picture of your own fist. Like, I don't care, dude. Like, just do something. All right. I got us out here
looking raggedy as all hell. Absolutely. My bad, y'all.
Untrustworthy. All right. So, so please support Kwame. We're trying to work on that as well, and that's for its left-wing analysis on media, entertainment, gaming. So we hope to do some. Kwame's going to be working on some movie reviews over there right now. You want to tell folks what you're working on right now, actually?
Yeah, I am finishing up the final night of the Night Stream Film Festival. I always attend the Boston Underground Film Festival. Usually they teamed up with a bunch of other festivals to do a virtual festival, and it has been great. I've checked out about 10 movies, 11 movies, maybe 2 more to go. And then I'm going to be doing some reviews for y'all, and I'll have that up on the site. I'll be pulling in Kamali and the super producer, as well as our good friend Dave, my wife, and a couple other guests to do a kind of roundtable discussion over one movie that was especially special and near and dear to my heart, as well as a whole bunch of other some good stuff coming down the pipeline based on that. So yeah, look for that soon.
Awesome. Dope. All right. So please subscribe to Racist Media on YouTube, and also follow us on Twitch. Follow Racist Media on Twitch. We need more followers on Twitch, and we need folks to start watching from Twitch as well, so that we can get up to meet their requirements to cross their threshold to join their program on Twitch as well. So want to do that as well. All right. So Mark McKeever says a fist with a face drawn on. Ha. Yes, like anything, damn it. Give us anything. Will take anything except for the default image on literally anything.
It's just the Twitter bird holding up a fist is basically.
I'll take that. I would gladly take that. All right, so let's keep pushing forward here, and get to this story. I think that Kwame and I may have some disagreement on this next story, so let's get to it. This will be interesting. Let me cue it on up. All right. And I'm going to cover, I'm going to cover this story. And then after this, I wanted to talk about the update on the Central Park Karen, Amy Cooper. I don't know if you want to stick around for that one at all, but you don't have to. I'll let you go after this one. But we can, if you have any thoughts on that before you go, I'll let you speak on it before you go. All right. Pushing along here, forging ahead. Let me pull our next story. And I think I'm going to keep us on for this one. So I'm trying something different this time.
Oh, boy.
All right. So your boy Ice Cube has allegedly here been working with the Trump administration. So let's take a look at this article from Rolling Stone, and then we can chat about it. So this is titled, this came out today, October 14th. It's titled, Ice Cube clarifies role in helping Trump admin develop, quote, platinum plan. So they have a quote from him. It says, here, we'll get to that. So here you go, your boy Ice Cube there. So Ice Cube has clarified his role in helping to develop the Trump administration's proposed, quote, platinum plan for the Black community after a White House advisor thanked the rapper for his willingness to step up and work with President Trump. Leaders gonna lead, haters gonna hate. So this is from Katrina Pearson. This is like a Trump surrogate. So this is the Trump surrogate saying, shout out to Ice Cube for his willingness to step up and work with @real Donald Trump administration to help develop the hashtag platinum plan. Leaders gonna lead, haters gonna hate. Thank you for leading. And then she put up a fist way darker than her skin, but we can I'll get to that on another. But in the hours following Pearson's tweet, Ice Cube had been criticized on social media for going from NWA to MAGA. And according to the rapper's rep, Ice Cube offered to meet with both the Trump and Biden campaigns in recent weeks to discuss an, quote, agenda for Black Americans and support his contract with Black America. the CWBA, which, quote, strikes at the heart of racism and presents a blueprint to achieve racial economic justice. Quote, this is from the contract with Black America, which we will take a look at too. The problems facing America are too deep and wide to simply reform one area or another, the contract said. Long-lasting solutions demand a comprehensive, thorough rethink of America so that each new approach in each area supports the success of others. This contract with Black America will provide conceptual approaches in several areas. The contract goes on to detail 13 different areas of improvement, including bank lending, prison reform, police reform, and the elimination of all Confederate monuments. So I want to talk about that contract with Black America because we didn't get to cover it here. And I think Tim Black did a great piece on it. Check out Tim Black's work on it. But I just want to highlight that one point where they said, according to the rapper's rep, Ice Cube offered to meet with both the Trump and Biden campaigns in recent weeks to discuss an agenda for Black Americans and support his contract with Black America. So he did reach out and tried to meet with both parties. Ice Cube similarly posted a video on Twitter on August 22nd where he asked of both parties. So this is August 22nd. What's in it for us? What's in it for the Black community besides the same old thing we've been getting from these parties? Ice Cube asked. I didn't hear anybody mention a contract with Black America, and I don't know why, because it's one of the most comprehensive reform documents that have come out in a long time that can really address the problem. After being contacted by both parties, the Democrats said they touched base on the CWBA, the contract with Black America, after Election Day, while the president's administration reached Ice Cube and absorbed some of the CWBA into the White House's Platinum Plan, with Pearson then thanking the rapper for his assistance. Ice Cube explained further in a follow-up tweet following the uproar. Quote, this is Ice Cube's tweet here. Facts. I put out the CWBA. Both parties contacted me. Dems said we'll address the CWBA after the election. Trump campaign made some adjustments to their plan after talking to us about the CWBA. The rapper added in response to a fan who expressed his displeasure with Ice Cube, quote, working with the dark side. So a fan tweeted out, he said, my hip hop hero, Ice Cube, is working with the dark side. I haven't felt this low since Kobe passed. Heartbreaking. Cube, I'm not sure you understand how much we value your voice. And when we see you, quote, jumping the shark, it kills us, especially in 2020. To which Ice Cube responded, every side is the dark side for us here in America. They're all the same until something changes for us. They all lie and they all cheat, but we can't afford to not to negotiate with whoever is in power, or our condition in this country will never change. Our justice is bipartisan. All right, so let's pull on that. All right, so that was the sort of bulk of it. I want to go over. I do want to flip through Ice Cube's contract with Black America, because I think it's really important to see what these points are that the Dems have, because the Democrats have said we'll wait till after the election. Republicans, Trump. So do you mind is that cool with you, Kwame, if we just quickly flip through a little bit of the contract? All right, cool. So this is the contract with Black America. This is Ice Cube's contract with Black America here, contract with Black America. And we'll just go through the points in like the top level things in the main point of these 13 segments here. So sections of it. So here we go. All right. So here are here you'll see this is the contract with Black America here. Ice Cube demands politicians sign contract with Black America before getting support of the Black vote. Of course, we should acknowledge there is no such freaking thing as the, quote, Black vote. Black people each as individuals vote for who the hell they want. There is not. We are not a monolith.
Hold on. You didn't get your letter with the official weekly notes from the Black committee, the Black monolith meeting?
Damn, I must have missed that one, man. That must have got rerouted to the wrong address there.
Oh man.
Damn it. So all right, so let's take a quick look at this and then we'll chat. So this is what's in the contract with Black America. One, bill to guarantee Black opportunity and representation, adopt a plan of neo-reconstruction to redress past wrongs systematically imposed on Black Americans economically throughout many generations that has resulted in a, quote, wealth gap where the average white family has 10 times the wealth of a Black family. In addition to some of the economic initiatives listed below, also formally apologize to Black Americans for past discrimination and slavery. Some people might think that this is crazy, but this is a shit that got done in Germany after the Holocaust. All right. This is not beyond the fucking pale here. All right. This is stuff that was done in Germany following the Holocaust. So in addition to, additionally, Black opportunity and representation will include affirmative action in schools, public and private, per student funding in states on an equal basis instead of paid by local property taxes. That is so freaking important. He says, per student funding in states on an equal basis instead of paid by local property taxes. That is the systemic racism in our education system. That's how it works, is by basing it on local property taxes. White people have, through redlining, have had, we'll dig in. But anywho, so these are not minor things. So
wait, when he says formally apologize, is that a fluffier way to say reparations, or is this just like a verbal acknowledgement apology?
No, he'll get into the specific reparations that it calls for, because he does call for actually specific forms of reparations, economic reparations. So he also says Black representation on all government civil rights bodies, civil rights classes, mandatory in elementary schools, gerrymandering reform, additional polling places in Black and minority neighborhoods, Juneteenth to become a federal holiday, right? So that's one of the things that the Trump administration adopted, was Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday. Hey, it's symbolic, but I'll take it, So, all right. So here's bank lending reform. So this is where part of the reparations, it starts to get into the actual economic reparations. Bank lending will be regulated to require banks to lend a percentage of all loan and credit categories on an equal basis to the Black population each bank serves. However, the minimum threshold must yearly meet the percentage equal to the national Black population, currently approximately 13.4%. Rates on Black loans federally and from banks to be the same average rates as white. So that's not really reparation, because that's saying that's just evening the playing field there, right? Yeah. It's saying we just want it to be equal to white people on that, right? It's not even necessarily asking for specific things for Black folks. Federal funding of, quote, baby bonds. So past federal program providing every child with a government funded trust account at birth, starting with $1,000 contribution. Cory Booker brought that up. Federal Reserve and government pensions for qualified Black Americans. Federal Reserve to allow a one-time. So this is where it gets. This is reparations right here. So for qualified Black Americans, Federal Reserve to allow a one-time interest-free loan for home ownership. For all qualifying Black Americans. Now, what makes somebody qualified? I wish it would just say for all Black Americans. All Black adults or whatever. But anywho. Interest-free loans for home ownership. The Fed to ensure banks and institutions it oversees comply with bank lending reform. Fed to adopt modern monetary theory with goal of full employment and avoidance of actual inflation. So he's out here saying adopt modern monetary theory, which is like AOC level, like Stephanie Kelton. Like this is like Richard Wolff level. Like it's like real economic. This modern monetary theory is the thing that says like the U.S. government doesn't really need to worry about its deficit and its debt. We can just print money. So we should just be able to print money and give that to people. And so he's talking about printing money and giving it to Black people here through, home ownership programs, interest-free loans. I will gladly take a one-time interest-free loan for home ownership. Like, give me that. So it goes on. They must allocate 13.4% of their investments into Black-owned enterprises and businesses. Finance oversight, whatever. I'll skip past that. Personal data and credit. Most states publicly release bulk data about arrestees unchecked, like the 1970 Fair Credit Reporting Act regarding credit data. There must be guidelines regarding arrest records that allow similar privacy and accuracy protection. So trying to help people that have records not have that damage them in their damage their credit. It also, credit services will be reformed to mandate consideration of individual consumer data on rent, utility, cell phone, and other like bill payments. So that's the stuff that lower income people actually are able to more consistently pay. And so, but those things don't count towards your credit. That would, drastically benefit low income people, disproportionately Black and brown people. Prison reform, privately run prisons will be abolished. Privately run prisons, I'll repeat that. Privately run prisons will be abolished. Prison labor disallowed. No more slave labor without consent. And nonviolent offenders incarcerated for 10 years or longer will be freed if good behavior standards met. So if you're a nonviolent offender and you've been incarcerated for 10 years or longer, free those people. All prisoners for marijuana possession freed. First offense for illegal drug use or possession to require government payment for entry into an approved drug rehabilitation program rather than imprisonment. So this is, a great diversionary program for people that are caught either using or possessing drugs. Eliminate mandatory minimums and 3 strike laws. Lynching to become a federal hate crime, and the Ku Klux Klan declared a terrorist organization. We've declared black lives, we've declared black identity extremists.
Yeah,
exactly, as a terrorist, but not the Ku Klux Klan. So Police Reform Act. Police reforms will be implemented in an expensive act. It should be expensive. Police reforms will be implemented in an expansive act that will at minimum include elimination of qualified immunity, requirement of mandatory malpractice insurance for police officers, and that means so that police officers have to pay that insurance so that the people, the taxpayers, don't have to pay it when these police harm members of the community. Right now it falls on the taxpayer, so these police they're not punished in any way for the harm that they cause. Make municipalities liable for unconstitutional actions by police. Mandatory use of dashboard and body cameras, not a fan of that one. Elimination of chokeholds and no-knock warrants. Establishment of residency requirements, de-escalation training, and requirement to update training. All right, so FCC prosecutors to solely focus on prosecuting police accused of wrongdoing. And yeah. All right. So I think that's, in a federal database for cops that do effed up stuff. So they do FCC licensing of public airways. Broadcast networks will be required to air Black produced content equal to 20% of the total content on the network as measured by time. Taking down all the Confederate monuments, elimination of all Confederate statues. Adoption of AJP, a public-private program that provides access to jobs in education and or training for people willing to put in the work and commitment. This part is what is the part that rubs me the wrong way, but all right. It's called Black Responsibility. So this is the only part that he loses me on this one. But
did Bill Cosby draft this section?
Exactly. Yeah, you know it, right? It's so he says Black Responsibility. Chronic poverty creates an atmosphere full of negativity, frustration, hopelessness, depression, alcoholism, drug abuse, crime, and violence. So he's at least acknowledging that it's the poverty, it is systemic, it's the chronic poverty that creates the atmosphere for all of this. These are some of the conditions that plague the Black community, which is dealing with extreme generational poverty. I mean, these are all great points. So they're not ignoring the systemic issues here, calling out generational poverty. As we begin to gain social and economic equality. So as we begin to gain social and economic equality, it is our duty to clean up ourselves and our community. This contract is a two-way street. As we gain social and economic equality, we must begin to dissolve any bitterness in our hearts for past wrongs. We must become better citizens who are more productive on all levels of American society. We really must step up after we pass the contract with Black America with no more excuses left in the kitty. I don't know what that means. Our entertainers should be persuaded to deliver more positive content that leads our youth to make better choices in life. A new pride must develop with these new opportunities, and we must fight against negativity, frustration, hopelessness, depression, alcoholism, drug abuse, crime, and violence. So that's that is the contract for Black America.
Damn.
All right. So let me get back to us here and let's chat. All right. So your thoughts, Kwame. What are your thoughts out the gate? That's a lot to soak in, I know. First off, what are your thoughts on the contract with Black America, real quick? What are your thoughts about the contract with Black America?
Woof. It doesn't go far enough. It doesn't address certain things that I have issues with. It's leaps and bounds better than a lot of other plans I've seen on certain aspects. There's it makes a good attempt. I would adopt parts of it into my portfolio, but I wouldn't sign on whole cloth to the contract. It's like I said, it doesn't go far enough on certain things. And all of this is just completely disregarding that terrible, awful last paragraph. That I completely did not. That was a travesty after the first two sentences. But I like to think that I like where his head is at on some of it, but there's a lot of misguided stuff there. But they've clearly thought about it. I do like a fair amount of it. But man, that ending is just trash. That ending's hot garbage. For you to preemptively tone police people, like, and now when we make good with you and you get your reparations, then you better stand for that flag, boy. Like, what? Like, first of all, we always have a right to complain, protest, whatever. That's a factor of free speech. And we always should, even when shit gets perfect, so-called perfect. If we were to fix everything tomorrow that we wanted, there would still be blind spots and still be areas that we're falling short, and we should be held accountable to that. And part of that accountability is protest. Part of that protest is entertainers, especially, and this is what made me want to fucking scream hearing this come out of a rapper mouth, entertainers who use music as a platform, as a means of protest and delivering a message, for you to then say like, oh, stop, we have to stop our whining and button that up and shit like that. That's so deeply out of pocket to me, because just because it would be good for you on certain things doesn't mean it'll be good for people wholesale. You know, I didn't see anything in there for sex workers or sex workers' rights, which is a big intersection, but with people of color. Anything really surrounding LGBT community, another thing that is a big intersection with people of color. There are aspects there where I could see the disabled community. There's a lot there that I'm sure by nature of following through all this, it can open up a gateway, but still it doesn't account for everything. So for you to preemptively say like, hey, once we do this, we got to get on board is I don't agree with that, nor the rhetoric of it's a two-way street. Like, all of that just hit me, like, made me feel some type of way, certainly. Like, for you to acknowledge that there are systemic things. And at the end of the day, even if we were to fix it, like, the damage done is generational. Like, it's not just, people aren't going to just all of a sudden, because things are more equal across the board, they're not just going to feel better. Like, it's not just, you could just throw away all the trauma and hardship you've had. Not to mention that, like you pointed out, some of this isn't necessarily like, yes, make it equal, but we need more than that, because we're owed more than just equal at this point. Like, we can't just make stuff an equal playing field and say from here we're equal and everything will be, the rules are all the same, because we're still 100 yards back in this race. Yeah. So even all of a sudden we're all following the same rules, there's still the head start that we have to account for.
Yeah. Yeah, so I do think that it could have. I agree that it could have gone further. The last section of it is just, it was unnecessary. I just think that, honestly, the thing about that section of it is that it's not an enforceable section, really. So to me, I'm not as concerned about it, because it's not like there's an act, like the other ones are policies, you know, like,
yes, of course,
you have to commit them. Those are policies. Some of that I feel like is, like, honestly, a nod to liberals more than anything, and maybe even a nod to conservatives as well. With the whole, like,
that last paragraph was virtue signaling to conservatives and respectability Negroes. I'm just call it what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, like, because I didn't like any of the language in that, and thought that it was just like, like the two-way street thing. It's like, you just talked about all the systemic problems, and like, you just talked about all the systemic problems. why turn around and say, well, now you individual have to like cheer up? The thing is, if you really believe that those are the things that cause those issues, you just said that it's systemic problems that cause those issues. Clean up the system and those things should naturally follow. So you don't need to say it. So that I'm totally, like that is
it leaves some room. It leaves room for it to be our fault. If you've clarified that these are results of systemic issues and you're acknowledging we're going to fix the system, then naturally that should clear things up. So for you to even say like, and if it doesn't clear up, then that's on you at that point, means that part of your mind, you already have this preconceived notion that I don't think that's what's causing it, but I'm leaving room for it to maybe be Black people's fault.
That they're just bitter, and they're just gonna stay bitter forever. It's like, no, when you actually fix that stuff, then people can move forward with it. And when you actually do the things to make amends for it, make proper amends for it, then people can move past it. But it has to be, it's gonna take it was generational trauma and generational wealth disparity, and it's going to take generations to resolve. And so I don't think that saying this is like that part I think I could ignore. The rest of it I thought was actually like substantive. You're talking about abolishing private prisons. You're talking about, the baby bonds, which I'm not like crazy about, it's just, but it's something, right? It's something to have some starting wealth to give people the ability to, those things can grow to be like $40,000, $50,000. That's a down payment on a home by the time that you're, old enough to use that money. It's a down payment on a home. It's paying for your, overpriced college education in this country. So I'm in favor of those things. Those things are going to disproportionately impact Black and brown people, and they will disproportionately help. And so I do think that I want to give ICE, Cube, I want to give Cube credit at least though, because I don't see every rapper out there doing what he did here. This takes some real, he sat there, he has a real, systemic analysis of the problem. He says, and he goes out there and he puts together a list of demands saying, hey, this is what we want this is what we think, what he genuinely believes will help propel the Black communities forward. And so I don't want to be this like, what do they call it? Like armchair warrior or whatever, where it's like
armchair quarterback.
Where I'm like sitting on my ass and I'm not doing anything to necessarily, but here he is using his platform for something that is, a pro-Black thing that, measure that he's taking. It would certainly, if those policies were enacted, that would absolutely benefit Black and brown people. I mean, you're talking about straight up, can we just get a straight up apology, making the home, no interest home loans for Black people. That is a form of reparations, man. To get a one time, no interest home loan, like that is, and honestly, it should be no interest and no term to like no pay. Like if you never pay it, it don't matter. Like you get the loan, and if you can pay it, you pay it off, and if you can't, then you don't, and so be it. But that would be the truest form of reparations. But I thought that was a lot, and he's at least doing something with this platform and actually trying to move the country towards the left. That is absolutely a left wing. Those were left wing proposals. It wasn't a bunch of like, like you're talking about, helping re-enfranchise people that are, convicted and expanding democracy in that way. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff in there. Of course, like you said, it lacks the LGBTQ, the sex work, but
which I have a theory on why, but continue.
Okay. Yep. And no, do you want to throw that theory? What do you think is the?
Well, I was gonna say before I pick apart Ice Cube, because I gotta bash this dude for a second.
You froze for me, just so you know, you're frozen right now.
Oh, am I back?
Oh shit.
Am I back?
Hold on. Okay. Yep, we're back.
All right, cool. I want to pick apart Ice Cube for a second real quick, but first I need to shout out someone else I'm mad at, and that person is myself. I had a reactionary opinion to this story at first, but in my defense, that's before the clarification. This article is a different one. What originally came out was just the Trump surrogates, quote, and they made it seem in their statement to the media, and this is on Trump's party, that Ice Cube was working with the Trump administration for the platinum package, and that he'd been working with them. It wasn't he was working with everybody. He sent it out, and this is who got back to him. It wasn't that they incorporated aspects into the Platinum Plus. They said, like, no, we brought him on to help us craft our Black plan. So, you know, I had an initial knee-jerk reaction. In seeing it more, I'm less willing to shade dude, because, you know, I personally, I wouldn't necessarily rock with Trump at all. Me personally, I wouldn't feel good about it. But I can understand if he put it out there, and whoever comes to me to talk about it, whatever, you know, like I kind of get it. I kind of get it. I still don't agree with it, because at the end of the day, the Trump admin is going to take making Juneteenth a federal holiday. They're going to put out that Ice Cube is buddy with them so they can coerce Black voters to come vote. And they're going to use you as a useful idiot, which is what happened. Like, before the clarifications and everything, he was getting crucified. Like, it worked like a charm. I'm sure there's a lot of Black people that were like, well, Joe Biden didn't answer and Donald Trump is working with him. So, you know, which that is also a valid criticism, which we'll get to shortly. But I still feel like he was used a little bit as a useful idiot on this one. My main contention is that my knee-jerk reaction was that, though, because of who Ice Cube is and because of the things that he's been caught up in lately and the views that he's had. I will always be cautious when it comes to Cube after learning some of the views that he's had, some of the circles that he pals around in. You know, we didn't get a chance to really do our Nick Cannon segment on everything that happened there with anti-Semitism. But Ice Cube has been called out numerous times for very anti-Semitic post that he shared, and just like there's, and not even like we can go back to, he has songs, which I know he had his falling out and NWA had their issues with Jerry Hauser. I'm sorry, I'm messing up his last name, who managed them, who was a Jewish man, but he straight up says some like anti-Jewish, like straight anti-Semitic stuff, even in NWA songs about Jewish people. So and he's a big defender and lover of Louis Farrakhan. So I automatically, and which is what I said when I was like, I have a theory as to why the LGBT and sex worker aspects were kind of missing there, because people like that with those type of views, not to draw generalizations, but I mean, they do tend to really only advocate for shit that's going to help straight Black men. They want to typically replace white, cis, hetero patriarchy and capitalism with the Black version of it without actually taking care of those other issues, which is why I'm not surprised that there are those gaps in that plan at all. And which is why I had the initial reaction I did. Cube would have to do a lot, even though he's got some great stuff here. He'd have to do a lot to get me back on board, to giving him the benefit of the doubt anymore, personally.
Yeah. And I think that's fair. And I think, you know, as far as the whole putting, you know, how this has been picked up, you know, because the sort of, I think liberals have been by and large losing their mind over this. They started to, like, you know, they're all out here like just saying, oh, Ice Cube, you know, he's trending right now on Twitter. Go look at the trending and you'll see the type of stuff that they're saying right now. They're all like mad at Ice Cube for working with Trump here. But the reality is like you know, he put it out there to both the Democrats and to the Republicans, and the Democrats said, "Oh, we'll talk to you after the election."
That pissed me off. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
that to me
That
says
is,
you don't care
don't
enough
care.
about this issue. Like those issues that he raises in there from point 1 to point 12 are all things that deserve to be discussed and should be on Joe Biden's platform at the very least, because like you said, it doesn't go far enough. It doesn't even go far enough for me. It's the bare minimum type of stuff, to be honest, but it's something, and that should be at the very least what is on Joe Biden's platform right now. And
it's the best case. It is a liberal capitalist utopia.
yes,
Like it solves a lot, but it doesn't in any. You notice he doesn't do anything that would disrupt capitalism or anything like that.
Yep,
Like
this is more black capitalism. We did the story on Killer Mike, his bank, Greenwood Bank. The bank is just Greenwood. Yesterday, and I think it's in the similar vein of like black capitalism. He talked about like, for the FCC or the FEC or whatever it is, would have to allow like ensure that like 20% of the broadcasting was black run entertainment, and that's just that's more black capitalism. It doesn't do anything to fundamentally change the system. It just says I want black people to be in high places within that system. I want to diversify the ruling class, and but there are many things in that plan that I think were substantive things to improve the material lives of poor working class black and brown people, but it would have done so while maintaining the structures of capitalism that are still inherently unequal and unstable and anti-democratic. And so I don't think that there was anything there. I do think that's like, as far as like liberals getting mad at it, I'm just thinking it's like, what do you expect from him? There's a chance that Trump does win the election. Not to me. I don't, I've already given my take on that. I do believe that it's too far gone, and that Joe Biden has won this election already, and that there's nothing that Trump is willing to do before then in order to alter the course of this election. So I do believe that Joe Biden is going to win this election. But if he puts it out there and they don't feel the need to respond or whatever, it's like what do you want him to do? There is some chance that Donald Trump could win. He is in power until January. And if you would like to see any of these reforms happen, I mean, you do have to, somebody's got to do the work, or else we sit and we accept that we do nothing. Because I mean, my solution, and what I would say is just like support. He should be working with Cooperation Jackson and working with black, workplace democracy and focusing his attention there. But we have to also acknowledge that maybe I'm wrong. There is some very small chance that maybe I'm wrong. Doubt it, but maybe I'm wrong on that. And so there's a chance. But also it's like, not everybody believes the same thing that we believe, and we shouldn't shit on the people who are trying their honest best and trying to push forward and improve the lives of poor and working class. It would be disproportionately black women that would be benefiting from these policies specifically as they were laid out. And so I think it would behoove the Democrats to adopt it, and it's on them if they don't accept that offer, and that they don't even want to talk about it. What the hell else does he do at that point except talk to Trump and them and see if he can make some progress there? What do you want a person to do at that stage? That's my my thought on it.
I agree, but again, like I'm like I worry about the optics, especially to marginalized people, always, and just working with Trump, especially when if there was any chance where I honestly believe that him having this meeting could have Donald Trump genuinely adopt any of these policies, have at it. But we know he's not going to. The man's a grifter. All he does is lie and back out of deals literally all the time with white folks who are rich all the time. I don't think he's going to keep your contract or any agreement he has with you, Ice Cube.
In his defense, I will say for Trump, in his defense is that I don't be putting me in the position of defending goddamn Donald Trump, by the way, you bastard. But in his defense, I will say he did work with Kim Kardashian, another black another entertainer trying to improve
That's a white woman, baby.
Yep, and trying to help free a black woman from prison, and he did that. He actually did that because it was politically,
it was politically good for him. And how many people did he actually do that for? It was the most performative bullshit, just like taking only Juneteenth.
And let me be careful. I don't know that the Juneteenth is the only thing that they took. I didn't have time to follow up on that. So they say that they adopted. He said parts of it. I happen to know that they have already touted this like Juneteenth, being a national holiday thing. I didn't know if that came from if that was the part, if that's something that they had adopted from him, because this had seemed to be going on. They seem to adopt that, weeks ago, but I heard that make news. So I can't say beyond, shadow of doubt or anything like that, whether or not there may be other additional things that they've adopted. I can't speak to that, but I think that as far as like the idea of like him working with Trump, I don't think of course it's working with Trump in the same way that the Democrats have to work with Trump in Congress to pass a stimulus. Like, to say we're not going to work with Donald Trump, that means we're not going to accomplish anything, because you literally have to work with them. Right now, Nancy Pelosi is in talks with a stimulus deal for Donald Trump. Would we suggest that Nancy Pelosi shouldn't be making deals or working with Donald Trump?
I agree. But the main difference is that it's literally the Democrats' job, and Ice Cube is I feel like he's being used as a useful idiot. Like, I feel like he's being used for optics on Trump's part in a way that, like, him working, I hope I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe something might come of this. But that's my biggest fear, is that the best we'll get is Juneteenth as a holiday, and Donald Trump got to use him for optics to score a couple more votes from people who are apolitical but like Ice Cube.
Yeah, but I think the anger is misplaced if we're upset with Donald Trump over that, and not with the dumb ass Democrats that continue to just stumble over themselves. All you have to do is just work with the dude, work with him right now, and that would be the storyline, right? Ice Cube's working with them. They've changed more of your platform, adopt more of these policies, because these policies are supposed to be in line with the values of the party that you're representing. So my anger is in the Democratic is aimed at the Democratic Party, who just does everything in their power to drop the ball in this election. Like, if Donald Trump wasn't so bad, Biden would have lost this election. We're just
definitely.
so lucky that Trump is so damn terrible and incompetent and foolish. And if they weren't, like, there was Biden really could have lost this with all the dumb moves they made. They really, just in nominating Biden, I mean, that move alone was like, so risky. So I just think it's my anger is with the Democratic Party and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who, let Donald Trump take this from them. Like, he reached out, he put it out there to everybody. He would much rather. You don't think that Ice Cube would rather work with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democrats? Like, I'm sure he'd rather work with them.
The thing I was going to say is that I feel like this is a little unfair, what you just did, because I didn't know we were bringing up the Democrats yet. My anger is not just at Trump. I thought I was going to cover the Democrats entirely separately.
Okay, nice. All right.
Because I didn't want to conflate, because I'm, like I said, I gave my reasons why I was mad at Cube, and that was separate. Why I'm mad at, we all know why I'm always mad at Trump, but my second point was why I'm wary of anything coming of this from Trump's end, other than scoring some optics and publicity for himself and not actually meaningfully doing anything. But then to move on to my good old buddies, the Democrats. This is why Candace Owens gets so much fucking juice with her Blexit bullshit, because y'all continue to do this type of buffoonery. You continue to prove that you have no idea or what to do when it comes to Black people, because, like, because what it comes down to is you already think you just got us. You just got us. You're so confident that you won't even come to the table or play ball with us. It's the same way that you treat leftists and black people the exact same way. Like, fuck them. Yeah, except that you think their vote's guaranteed, but you have no interest in how in the ever living fuck are you going to say when this dude put in that proposal, he specifically said, I need you to go over this and read this before black people throw their vote to you. We are going to I am coming to you to hold the black vote hostage until you barter with me by looking at this contract. And these assholes looked back and said, you know what, fam? I'm good. I'll get at you after the election.
Yeah.
So y'all just got it like that then, clearly, is what you're telling me. And that's the issue. They just assume that they know. They assume we're a monolith. They assume that, like, and that's why people are so fed up. They can't even fake the funk. Like I always say, this is the worst part. They can't even pretend to, at least, and this is where I'll give Donald Trump some credit. At least my guy can pretend to genuinely give a fucking care. At least he can show up at the meeting and stare off into space and be like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I'll have my people call your people. The Dems can't even bother to do that much. They just literally said, nah, we're good. Yeah, we'll get back to you after the election.
No, you know, they did us one better than that. You know, Kwame, let's not give them let's not give them no credit here. You know, they were busy. The Biden campaign was busy at work doing very important things to outreach to the black community.
Oh, you mean like the rap songs?
Yo, so let me pull this up because I just queued this up because it's I
didn't know I'd have to hear it.
Dude, have you heard? So this is what the Biden campaign has been busy at work on. This is why they couldn't be bothered to meet and discuss, you know, the economic betterment of black people because they were too busy working on this, y'all. All right. So this is a clip. Go ahead. This is a clip from the Joe Biden's official YouTube. All right. So this is right off of Joe Biden's official YouTube. This is a Joe Biden ad. All right. A get out the vote ad for Joe Biden right here, folks. This is the cringiest shit I've ever seen is what this is. Hold up. All right. So I haven't watched this whole clip. I've only seen the clip through Rising on the Hill. So I haven't actually watched this version of the clip. So I hope I've queued it to the right part, but I may have to skip around to get us to the right part. But I want to hear the part, you know.
No, they got URL and DNA. I'm so mad.
Oh, you did not.
I'm so done. I can't believe they went to battle rapper. Fuck. Go ahead.
So Kwame's only experience is this for the first time. I feel like we should watch this whole thing now. Like, so, hold on.
Go ahead. Oh man, I guess let's do it.
I've only seen the second dude. I've only seen this other dude, so I don't know who these.
Yeah, no. Let's watch the whole thing. All right. We're gonna watch. Get the video pulled down if we watch the whole thing. Will we get?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Nope. This is public domain here, so I think we're good here.
Oh no.
All right, we're gonna watch the whole thing, y'all. All right, we're gonna flip through. We can tell me if we need to stop at any point. I might have to just stop it at some
for sanity's sake.
Just to cut in and say our pieces. All right, here we go. I want to pull us. I'll keep us up on screen too. Let me make sure that we're up here. Okay, yeah, we are. All right,
I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so let's watch this this epic rap battle. This is the whole ad we're seeing here.
Kids tax, y'all.
You know how important this is? Today is not the day to practice your jumper. Uh-oh, what's today the day for? So who's this, Kwame? Which one do you know who?
Yo, why you ain't been answering your phone? You know why I'm calling you. You have to vote. You know why I don't vote? Because as a black man, I just feel like there's no hope. Our president telling people to go back to China, taking the coronavirus as a joke. And that's the part that frightened me. When you choose a president It's supposed to be a knockout. Then why this situation doesn't entice me? If you got the answers to get me out this dark path, my brother, enlighten me. We always telling each other to stay woke. That's why this time we gotta use our voice and you have to vote. The facts should show Biden has a plan for African Americans. We're not dealing with your average Joe. I see the way you looking right now. You know exactly where I'm gonna go with this. For 4 years, we had Trump in office and we made the most of it. But we finally got somebody that could be in office that can give us a chance to have home ownership. I'm talking to all of you. $640 billion over the course of 10 years so we can finally get housing that's affordable. Look at them now. I got them stuck. With Biden and Harris plan, we got to trust because we can't say we support Obamacare but rock with Trump. So Harris and Biden is going to help with black ownership, huh? Okay. Maybe it's true. But what about the black colleges and all the funding for the HBCUs? Is Biden going to follow in Obama's footsteps and go all out with health care? Or is he going to laugh at us like our president now while our people struggle on welfare? You see, I did my research, which is exactly why I could rebuttal that. Biden and Harris planning to put $70 billion to the HBCU. We're not just talking about a couple rats.
10% of the military.
What Trump attempted to do, they plan to double that. And as far as the rich and poor with schools, the whole goal is to end the funding gap. That sounds legit. Only if our president now would quit. Hey, did you know that unemployment for African Americans is up this 4%? So when you tell me to go and vote, well, the reason why it's such a hard one, because how we expect our people to get jobs and the president can't even get the job done. Bro, I understand it's a process, so I'm not rushing you. Take your time. You know what, speaking of that, I got the perfect place to take you that'll change your mind.
I am secondhand embarrassed right
now.
So
is this that I'm just supposed to confide in Biden?
Oh Lord.
What about the innocent blacks that get snatched out their vehicles just for riding? We don't even ask for much. All we do is ask for respect. Before they did what they did to George Floyd, this country had their foot on our neck. Now, do you understand why I'm upset? I feel you, because every time we throw the system an uppercut, all they give us in return is low blows. But Biden and Harris got a plan to outlaw the chokehold. It's inspiring. Donald Trump is the apprentice, but now it's our turn to do the firing and review everything even before we hire him. Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin, say their damn names. The goal is to
some of those happened under Biden
and Trump his campaign. You know, before you actually called my phone, I honestly had no hope. But if Biden and Harris going to do exactly what you said,
they won't.
Then I'm gonna go vote.
I thought he was going to say, then crack, I'll smoke, but
that is...
Hold on, my guy. What did you just do to me? That was buffoonery. That was straight lunacy. This isn't new to me. I could do this rap shit, but if you want to get political, what the fuck was that shit? Oh my God. Damn. I don't make me come off the bench.
Y'all are not ready.
Jesus Christ,
money out here.
Lord, oh my good God. Oh my good God.
Y'all were not ready for the focus freestyle tonight, all right? I was not ready. That was good shit, yo. You see, I knew there was I had to have you on for this episode, yo.
What
that
was good. This felt like you know how oh my God, who was it? And he went after Donald Trump. He ran against fucking Obama. Jesus Christ.
John McCain.
No, the other one. Oh,
Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney, right?
Yeah.
This felt like. You remember how Mitt Romney had all the balls to go against Donald Trump, and then you seen that video of them at the dinner, and him looking all sad, like the dude from Game of Thrones. Y'all know exactly who I'm fucking talking about. If you watch Game of Thrones, when you get just your pride taken from you like that, and he was cringing at the dinner like. That's what that whole shit felt like. DNA, my guy. What? What? Like,
yo, that whole like Biden Harris and they got a plan, and like I'm just like yo, this is so gross. This is what they think is like black outreach. They again, at least they mentioned some policies, but those policies were like weak as shit. Like they were talking about 640 billion over 10 years. Like 640 billion is more than we spend on the military budget in one single effing year. Like one single year we spend more on a military budget than what they're talking about giving all black people everywhere, in this country for the next 10 years. Kiss my ass with your 640 billion. I'll tell you where you can stick that. Like, and that's their promise that they're making right now. We all know that whatever they're promising, they're coming out with a whole lot less. And so it's like I was just like, yo, this is what they're working on. This is what
hey, at least it wasn't Puff Daddy holding a gun at the camera threatening to shoot me if I don't vote, I guess, man, right? Like, at least we didn't bring back vote or die. I get what, like, just stop. That felt like a Kamala Harris special. That felt like that was brought to you by the woman who was listening to Pac albums on the exclusive before they came out.
Because Pac wasn't even in, let's all remember that Kamala Harris was in college before Tupac dropped his first album. So I don't know what Pac she was claiming to be listening to, but he didn't exist then. So
I feel like I need a shower at this point. It's just bad. It was so bad, so cringe, so much freaking cringe. Like, it felt so inauthentic and just forced, and like, what the
hand in the
hell?
ass, and like, oh yeah, we gotta go out there and vote because it's gonna make it. It's like, dude, they are not. Again, instead of actually like sign on to these policies that Ice Cube has laid out there. They're not talking about abolishing private prisons. They're not talking about abolishing abolishing ICE. They're not talking about defunding the police. They're not talking about give some real we're gonna help fund HBCUs. Guess what? I saw an HBCU recently. I saw a picture and a dude was posting. He was like, so proud to be the only black man in my, graduating class of my HBCU. Like, you looked at the picture and it was all white people at this HBCU. So helping HBCUs doesn't even necessarily mean you're helping black people at the stage anymore. White people are allowed to go to HBCUs. Like, if that's the best thing you have to offer. Also, let's just point out, the vast majority of black people never sniff the inside of a college. Most people are not getting to college. That is an elite policy right there. That is, you're not talking about something that's impacting the bottom 60% of black people in this country. So I don't care what you're doing for HBCUs, to be quite honest. If that's the best thing you can tout in your big ad to black people is, $64 billion a year. Like, what is the $64 billion? It's nothing. We literally just the Fed was injecting $1 trillion a day into the Fed to prop up the markets there. Like, we just gave away $4.5 trillion to the wealthiest corporations in just the CARES Act the CARES Act the Democrats just signed off on, and that the stimulus bill that was passed at the beginning of the pandemic included $4.5 trillion of dark money that can just be handed out and doled out by the Trump administration to whichever wealthy, all the biggest corporations. But now you're going to turn around, that's $4.5 trillion this year, right now. So they can give $4.5 trillion away to the wealthiest fucking people, but they can't offer more than 640 billion punk ass fucking dollars to all black people everywhere over 10 fucking years. Fuck you for that. Fuck you, Democrats. Fuck you, Joe Biden. Fuck you, Kamala Harris. Like, that shit pisses me the fuck off, man. Like, are you fucking kidding me? That chump change. It's fucking chump change. And I'm sorry, man. That shit gets me fucking heated, because it's like, are you serious? And we're gonna be out there rapping and dancing a jig for Joe Biden and fucking Kamala Harris? Like, that's some bullshit, man. Like, we might as well have pranced out the fucking fucking Mr. Peanut or the WB Frog should have just fucking rolled out on the WB. It's like
I'm just happy that it wasn't Chance the Rapper. That was my first fear when I heard that they did this shit. I love Chance, and he's usually on the right side of things. Every now and again, he does something that scares me a little bit because he's young. So I was a little worried. Of course, they went and got. Why did you get Battle Ray? It's just so baffling and goofy. Like I mean, I was gonna say, was Kendrick Lamar or Childish Gambino not available? And then I thought, and I'm like, those motherfuckers would not be caught dead.
Oh my lord, dude!
No way. There's no way.
That would be so. I mean, I'd be done. I'd be done with that at that point. Like, I'd be done with Kendrick. He would lose all respect and credibility to me at that stage. Like that.
Like
would be
I wouldn't. If Kendrick came out and said vote for harm reduction's sake, you know, like I wouldn't knock it. But if he did whatever clown show that was, and I see your comment here, I'm drinking this trash beer for that trash ass video. That's why I'm repping we trashy today, baby. Because my God, if you guys are gonna bring me on and force me to lose my sanity, I'm going to come and subject you to watching me drink trash beer. It's gonna be a Zima next time, damn it. Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, that was beyond. I mean, it's so cringy. It's just cringy shit. It was cringy as fuck. Tammy says, I gotta make a gif out of those Kamali dance moves. LOL. Don't do that, please. Nobody do that. Do not. Yeah, no, I mean, boy, oh boy, yeah. So
it'd be much lesser, I would assume. Yeah. It's oof.
Tammy says, would I still love Lupe Fiasco if he participated? No, I wouldn't. But you see, Lupe Fiasco, on the other hand, got tracks like Words I Never Said, where he's like, Limbaugh is a racist, Glenn Beck is a racist, Gaza Strip was getting bombed, Obama didn't say shit, that's why I ain't vote for him. Next one either. I'm a part of the problem. My problem is I'm peaceful and I believe in the people. And so that's my Lupe right there. Like, that's what you get out of Lupe. Like, no, I didn't vote for Obama. Next one either,
I'd be very surprised if anyone like a Lupe or a Kendrick came out and did anything with this sort of goofiness. Like,
oh my lord, man. It just pisses me off because this stands in place of substantive policy. This is what they think is going to bring out the black vote, not Medicare for all, a Green New Deal, a jobs guarantee, like, reparations. Like, give me something like this. Is why everybody made jokes about Marianne Williamson, but man, I would literally cut off my right arm right now to replace Marianne Williamson with Joe Biden on this ticket. Like, if you could give me Marianne Williamson, I'm sorry, but her stance on reparations alone, go and look it up. Go and look at what her stance on reparations, with her appearance on the Rubin report with Dave Rubin, where she embarrassed that dude. And you hear her talk about reparations in a real, meaningful, substantive way. We've covered Marianne Williamson on the show plenty of times now, I think. And I think she gets a bad rap. She gets, that's what they do. They, the propaganda works against her. It's just like, ooh, kooky, yoga lady, yoga mom. And it's like, no, listen to her talk about like history. And she has a really keen ability to historicize, and she understands the history and is very serious about the issue of reparations. And nobody took, not even Bernie Sanders, nobody took a stance as strong as she did on reparations. So we are, we can clown her. Black people can clown her to our own damn detriment, because, that's somebody that's actually advocating on the part of real economic stimulus, not this punk ass little $640, billion, punk ass dollars. We need to start talking trillions. We give away trillions to corporations. If they ain't talking trillions, I don't want to fucking hear it. We spent $7 trillion on Iraq and Afghanistan wars to go bomb black and brown people for the last 20 years. Like, they can come better than that's $3.5 trillion every 10 years versus 6 times the amount that they're talking about giving to black people right there. So I don't know. We got to start wrapping up the show soon because I want to try to keep them to 2 hours. But yeah, any last thoughts on that? Like, X says you guys crack me up. Appreciate that. Kwame is the comic relief for the show, and that's why I love having Kwame on. We need to have him on more often.
If my grasp on sanity slipping is at all entertaining y'all, then at least some good has come of it, because my brain is leaking into my earphone right now. In case you're wondering.
Tammy says there was a funny tweet where someone responded to a Complex magazine tweet about Kamala saying Tupac is the quote best rapper alive. I think she actually said that though.
She did. She did. That was the question. They asked her who the best rapper alive was, and she said
was
Tupac.
That her trying to be cute and like okay. And the Tammy says, and the guy tweeted quote, she spilled the beans. Where is he, Kamala? Yes. Yeah. Because I feel like that was her trying to be like, cool and hip and be like, oh, he actually is alive,
I think that she pivoted to that once. I feel like it may have been.
Yeah, y'all think that she like, yeah, Kwame and Tammy seem to think otherwise. They think
that. I doubt she knows he's dead.
Yeah,
that is her hot sauce. And Tupac is the bird. That's all to say.
Where is he, Kamala?
And don't forget, Tammy, you can pull up a meme and throw it up on the screen. You got power to do so. But yeah.
I cannot in enough words express just how trash that absolutely was. Hip hop could be used very powerfully. Political
example of it.
But that was not it. That was not it at all. Good Lord Jesus.
These Biden ads to black people. I've done now 3. I think I've covered at least 2 of his ads that have just been straight up racist as far as I'm concerned. Like,
do you remember the 90s era when McDonald's started doing black outreach in their videos? And they would have people like dancing through the video looking like the Living Single theme song with similar music playing. Go look up the McDonald's, because it feels like the same team put together the Biden campaign's outreach to black people, except I would argue McDonald's seemed more effective and less offensive.
Damn. That is damning. I'll definitely have to check that out. That's that was just the cringiest shit, and it was an embarrassing, and I was embarrassed for them having watched it, and I just that stands in place. We just have to remember that is in place of actual real substantive policy that is going to help black and brown people. Is that kind of pandering bullshit. They think, oh, the young blacks will love us, they'll really eat this right up. This is what they think of you, like young people, black people. This is what they think of us. They think that that's what's going to get us to go out and vote for them, not actually fighting for and promising us and actually fighting for substantive policy. No, it's just pandering and hip hop, rap battles, and talking about the civil rights movement that Joe Biden had no participation whatsoever.
I just want to point out that we got to this subject as a segue because we were pointing out that they wouldn't hit up Ice Cube with an actual proposal so that they could do this instead. That is, we need to.
You had a rapper. You had
knowledge. There was your outreach.
This is how they wanted to use hip hop. You had a chance to work with Ice Cube.
Hold on. Do you think that this has anything at all to do with his history of anti-Semitism? That's why they're not willing to attach themselves to it. Am I giving them too much benefit of the doubt?
Absolutely not. This is I literally didn't even know that stuff until you brought it up. So it's not like it's some like Ice Cube is like widely panned for this or anything like that. And I check out the Tim Black video that he did on the Ice Cube thing. People like that are very supportive of what Ice Cube did. Like Tim Black was very supportive of what Ice Cube did, and was there. That is a major black left voice, and you got people that would be receptive to that kind of messaging and for them to be working, you know, in adopting this contract with Black America. I don't think that they didn't make any kind of mention of that. There's nothing to suggest that. Joe Biden wanted to go on the Joe Rogan podcast, you know, and he tried to get on the Joe Rogan podcast. So Joe Biden doesn't have any problem working with, you know, controversial, you know, like figures and stuff. And so I just don't think it's a big enough thing with Cube for it to be the reason that they blocked it, and they made no mention of that. If that was the reason, then they should have said it. But
yeah, I would have respected that more, because like I again, like I said, I'm super wary of Ice Cube because of all of that anti-Semitic garbage that he's really danced around with especially as of late. But yeah, oh man.
I like X's comment. He says, "Who are the 5 best rappers in the world? Dylon, and Dylon." Like, they should have got Dylon. That's who they should have got.
I don't even think Dylon knows where Dylon's at right now. Ain't no one checking for that man.
Yeah.
Been better off with Babs.
X, I like Babs too. X says, "Oh, by the way, how did you get connected with Tim Black?" Yeah, that was cool actually. I ended up I watched the Tim Black show, fan of the show for now like 3 or 4 years now, and I was watching a recent episode of his about a couple weeks back. I was watching an episode of his, and towards the end of the episode, he just put out a call to the community at large saying that he was looking for some content editors for his videos to cut up his videos into some 1-minute clips, to extract some 1-minute clips from his videos that he could use for his Instagram to start to grow his Instagram following. And he just, you know, he mentioned like, listen, you don't have to be like a professional producer or anything like that, as long as you know how to edit some videos and you have a, you know, keen eye for what would be a good clip to cut out, then reach out to him. So I had done a video on Tim Black covering his speech at the People's Convention, and he had commented on the video, which was really amazing. He commented on the video and said like, hey, you know, that he appreciated what I said about him in the video. Just talking about how his show was an inspiration for my show, as it was. I mentioned it in my intro video months ago, back in like March when I started the channel. I mentioned Tim Black as one of the leftist YouTubers that I, you know, wanted to become a part of that sort of chorus of voices on the left. And so when he commented on the video, he commented and said like, you know, thanks for the kind words, and that he had his, you know, he's like, I'm keeping an eye out for you, fam. So that kind of was like encouraging, and it was great, you know, just felt kind of surreal, and it was super encouraging. And so I felt like, oh, you know, he said he was going to keep an eye out for me, and here's this, he needs this work done that I seem to be uniquely equipped to do as somebody that does it for my own show right now. And I need the practice. It would help with the practice. I thought it would be good to make the connection with somebody like a Tim Black, who is literally like the most popular Black left YouTuber. And so I was, you know, I jumped at the chance. I reached out to him, emailed him, and I actually took I downloaded that episode of the show and cut it up into a bunch of clips, and then so I took that that episode, I cut it up into a bunch of clips, sent those clips over in an email, and just said like, hey, you know, let me know, you know, I'd like to work, you know, I'd love to work with the folks over there and with Tim Black. And so they, about a week later, they reached back out and said that they were interested. And so I signed on to I'm doing a 6-month contract with them, working 2 days a week. I'm editing their Thursday and Friday live shows. I edit them, you know, after they're done with the show, pull down the clip and do some editing, pull out those 1-minute clips. And I just do that on Fridays and Saturdays in the morning on Fridays and Saturdays for myself. So, just for the scheduling as far as how it interacts with Radical Democracy and the Radical Democracy Show, it is going to mean, it means I have to adjust my schedule around it. I've still been able, I've done three live streams the last 3 nights. So I'm still, and I edited clips for the first time this past Friday and Saturday for Tim Black. So it seems to be working perfectly with. Sorry, we cut out for a second there. Just got back. But yeah, so it just worked out with my schedule with what I'm doing right now. I'm a software engineer by profession, and I need money because life stuff. But I know, Tammy. I know, I got you. Yes. Tammy's giving me the wrap it up signal right now. Yeah. No, I'm just trying to give X the full. I'm giving them this is the post game. Giving them the full, the full behind the scenes. That's our Patreon. God none but love. All right. So, yeah. So I just thought it worked well with what I'm doing and could be a good opportunity to maybe make some connections with other, Black left, independent left-wing media. So yeah, jumped on the opportunity. Hopefully that I'm really excited for it. It's working out well so far, helping me improve my video editing skills as well. A skill that I should be able to carry over back into the Radical Democracy Show. And who knows where it could lead? So it's part-time right now, but could grow into some other opportunities. So we'll see. And I'll keep you guys posted as that situation changes. So. 2 comments and Kwame got to bounce. Yep. Kwame got to go. But Tammy says, cute shirt, Kwame. Quote, this guy's going to be a dad. Nice. Love it. And Tammy said one other comment. Tammy says, side comment, I recall the misogynoir and colorism with the Straight Outta Compton movie casting. So yeah, I'm not familiar with it, but
it was definitely a point that they took issue with, and of course the misogynoir is going to be a big thing in that circle. You have Dre, you've got Ice Cube, like these are all older school cats who have some, they're good on a lot of issues, but they got some other views that are a little bit troubling, which is why, as much as I like Cube's plan, I'm not letting up on him for his shitty behavior in the past, his very, very shitty behaviors in the past.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So yeah, let me let you go, Kwame. Thank you so much for being here. X says Chappelle. What's that about? I don't get the reference. What's the Chappelle reference? Maybe he's saying Chappelle is similar. Like a Dave Chappelle kind of. Yeah.
Because again, another person with some great stances on some stuff, but holy shit, he's pretty trash on a lot of other things that made me really dislike him more recently. I can't really stand him personally right now, but that'll be a topic for another show. I hope to cover eventually on a segment over on the Raised Fist Media channel.
Yep. So definitely check that out. Check out Kwame, follow Kwame, support on Patreon, patreon.com/raisedfistmedia as well. Throw him whatever you can afford will be deeply appreciated. So make that happen as well. Thank you for being with us today, Kwame. I had fun. This was a fun.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. I hope y'all have me back. Like you said, if you go over to Raised Fist Media, check out. Soon we'll be having a bunch of reviews for some pretty cool movies y'all might want to check out. A good roundtable discussion coming up soon. I'm hoping to get these Kamali and Tammy over here push through some Lovecraft Country so we can cover that coming up soon. And then also on quick plug, on November 10th, I'll be doing a 24-hour gaming marathon to raise money for Boston Children's Hospital through the Extra Life fundraiser. I do it every year. I will be tweeting out about that and have it up on the Raised Fist channel, and I'll also be doing a lot of streaming on YouTube and Twitch that day, gaming with the community, gaming with hopefully Kamali and Dave will be popping on there with me throughout that day. So yeah, definitely. Check it out.
Awesome. Love it. Appreciate it. If you send me the link, I'll drop a link. Like I'll update the video with the link too. Sorry that I didn't have that ready. I forgot about that. So yeah, and next time we have you on, we'll have you on again before November 10th for sure. So next time we have you on, let's make sure we have that link ready, and we'll drop it in the description box and make sure we send people over there and try to drum up some more support there too. So yeah, great cause that Kwame's working on. Definitely want to support that. So appreciate it. Thanks for being here, Kwame. We will catch you very soon, brother.
Appreciate y'all.
All right. Peace. All right. Kwame Norville, everyone. Love him. So, all right. We're going to wrap up here. Thank you so much. Let me see. I see another comment. Please, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button, subscribe, share. I see a comment from X here. X says, Black left YouTubers I'm following: Tim Black, Jamal Thomas, Ben Dixon, Radical Democracy. What's your opinion on Nico House? So I follow everyone that you named, including Nico House. I think that Nico is I think him and Tim Black had a little bit of beef a while back, over the whole Nico was standing for Tulsi Gabbard during the primary, and I disagree with him there. I don't agree with him on our policies, but Nico, I think he's a decent leftist. He's doing his sincere best, and I support him in that way and encourage people to check him out and, give him a listen. So I would love to go on a show or have him on this show. So we have a lot of overlap in our ideology. We're both pretty fed up with the Democratic Party. So, nothing. I find him to be another solid voice on the left, and someone that we may not agree on everything. We didn't agree on Tulsi. We don't agree on everything. But is he an honest actor who is in a true leftist? Absolutely. And so I say support him. Support him, and just like we would support any other, independent, Black leftist. So, I love, obviously huge fan of Tim Black, and then Jamal Thomas, also big fan of Jamal Thomas. Ben Dixon is sometimes I'm right with him, but then sometimes I feel like he just. I found him through David Pakman originally, and I don't even listen to David Pakman anymore because it's just, I can't take the capitalist BS. And Ben Dixon also got involved with Sean King on this media project, which I just wouldn't be getting involved with Sean King on projects, knowing what Sean King has done to people in the projects that he's worked on. From what I understand from Black women activists that have worked with him, doesn't always turn out well. So X says, thanks, we got cut off the other day. That's all I'll say, so you can wrap it. Absolutely. Yeah, no, sorry about that. Yeah, exactly. Yep, we cut. Exactly. Yeah, I remember that the other day when we were in the middle of chat, and sorry about that. And all right, any other comments that we want to get to? All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much to everyone for being here. Thank you so much to X for chatting with us. That was awesome having you with us. Please, if you haven't done so already, like, subscribe, share. As with before, I'm going to play us out with the track here from What Up America, aka Plasmon. But What Up America on our Discord and in the community here. And thanks for being here, y'all. Enjoy this track as we roll on out.
People you talking about, they spent money on white women. They set up bars and they went playing pool and golf for $1,000 a hole, and they were known to make millions and millions when there wasn't no high taxes, and they were not hindered by white America. They were allowed to see the white America is completely closed all the doors on me. I'm not allowed to work in America, out of America. I was stopped right in my prime just when I started making that. So you can't compare me with nobody like Joe Royce or nobody.
if you are brown, if you are indigenous, and if you are poor, this system is rigged and it is right to the core, and we gonna unring it. That's it. And that's all.
That other kind of socialism that revolutionizes the workplace, brings democracy to the workplace for the first time.
So that's one way. And then the other thing is, in my more optimistic days, he's such a perfect endpoint of everything that is toxic and dysfunctional about the United States, about capitalism, about the 80s, that maybe this is the final sort of disgusting burst before we evolve or change it to something better.
Talk about some things about why we need a new party. So I thought that'd be a good way to kind of do this. Why do we need a new party? We need a new party because both parties suck, John.
What are they talking about? Fortified. Are you fortified for the long run? Do you have your cemetery clothes on? Are you coffin ready to live and die for something bigger than you, like a fundamental transformation of a capitalist civilization?